Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to Finland, and this was actually the second of the two beers brought back by my classmate Leo from his time over there at Christmas. So a big thank you to Leo for providing these beers for me. Finnish beer, of course, is one, very expensive, and two, very difficult to get, so I feel quite privileged to have been able to do these reviews for you. So for this one we're going to go to a place in southwestern Finland called Uusikaupunki, maybe an hour or two away from Turku actually, and we're going to visit Vakka Suomen Panimo, and their beers are all called Prykmestar, and the one we're going to review today is a very traditional style of beer. It's called Savu Kataja, which literally translates into English as smoked juniper, and of course this style of beer I believe is related to the Finnish Sahti beers. Of course in Estonia these beers are called Kudu, and in Gotland here in Sweden they're called Gotlandstrika, but this is a very traditional style of beer in this part of the world. It's a very smoked, very kind of meaty flavoured beer that also has juniper flavours in it, and they are really nice beers. I've tried a few. There was the Omar Amazing Gotland Campfire beer, that was a beautiful one. There was also the Will o' the Wisp from Black Metal Brewery in Scotland, and I also tried one from Handbryggeriet which was called Norwegian Wood. They called that a Norwegian farmhouse ale, but this style of beer is one that I really enjoy, and if you've watched my channel before you will know that I really love smoked beers. Of course Schlenkerla was where my love of beer really began, so I'm very interested to try this one, and as I say, it's really cool to be reviewing some Finnish beer for you. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that I'll do from Vakka Suomen Panimo. As I say, very first time I'm trying one of their beers, and there's all the usual social media things down there, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd, so please follow me on there. If you want to see more beer reviews, please subscribe to the channel, and to my Finnish viewers, please do suggest some other beers and breweries that you'd like me to review from Finland, and hopefully I can get a hold of them. As I said, Finnish beer is expensive and it's really quite hard to get a hold of, but I honestly will try my best because I would love to review some more Finnish beer. So as I say, get in touch in the description below, and I would love to hear from you, and I will apologise in advance for any bad Finnish pronunciations. These Finno-Uric languages are very difficult, so please do bear with me on that one. So as I've mentioned to you, this brewery is located in Uusikaupunki in southwestern Finland. It's maybe about 2 hours or so from Turku, which of course is Finland's second city, but the town was founded in 1617 and apparently it flourished during the 1800s as a shipbuilding city, and today it has a population of about 15,000 people. The pictures of it actually looked very nice. But this brewery was founded in 2007 and the first beers were produced in 2008, and the beers are all named Prykmestar to honour the old brewery in the city that was owned by the Prykin family in the 1900s. But this brewery unfortunately faded away after a period of time. Of course, it was revitalised in 2007 with this new entity. But the current brewmaster is Jani Vilpas, who was trained in Germany, and he likes to brew all the beers in accordance. I think I read that he liked to brew all the beers in accordance with the German purity law, of course, the Reinheitsgebot. But a lot of people, a lot of beer bloggers that I've read from Finland have said these beers are some of the most kind of quirky ones and most interesting beers that you're going to find in Finland, so very cool that I'm able to review this one for you today. But just to list the other beers you can get from the brewery, there's the Schwarz, the Loma Pils, the Vena, which is a wheat beer, the Vena Bock, which is a Weizenbock, Savu, which is the smoked beer, and then there's this guy here, which is the Savu Kataja, the smoked juniper ale. And they also have some seasonal beers too. I think they've got one for each of the 4 different seasons. But that's enough about the brewery, and in honesty, I actually couldn't find all that much information on the brewery, so if those of you watching in Finland can provide some more information for my next video, please do get in touch. Like I said, I'd love to get a little bit more information about this brewery and of course Finnish craft beer in general, so please do get in touch. But anyway, let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. As I mentioned to you, this beer is a traditional juniper smoked ale. It's related to the beer styles Gotlandstrika, Kudu and Sahti. Gotlandstrika, of course, Scotland and Finland, Kudu from Estonia, and Sahti is the Finnish variety. As I mentioned, these beers are traditional styles that you'll find in Scandinavia. Very smoky beers, usually quite meaty, and they've got some nice juniper flavours in there as well. Other examples of the style, of course, are the Black Metal Brewery's Will of the Wisp from Scotland. There's the Norwegian Wood from Handbrygeriet as well, and the other one I tried was the amazing Gotlander Campfire beer, which was from Amar in Copenhagen in Denmark. So those are some other types of beers that you can probably relate this one to. So if you like those beers, you probably will like this one, but this one is a lot more boozy, I would guess. So let's actually have a look at the artwork on this one. As you can see, I'll bring up the camera and just let you have a look at this. You can see there's the nice kind of juniper leaves on this one. You can see Prykmestar Savu Kataja, as I mentioned to you, smoked juniper as it would translate directly into English. It's a half-litre bottle, as it tells you there, 9% ABV, 50 centilitres. Tells you some things in Finnish on the back there. Of course, I am in no way literate in Finnish. It's one of the most difficult languages in the world to learn, actually, as is Estonian and Hungarian, which are the other Finno-Ugric languages. But you can see there is the Vakka Suomen Panimo bottle cap on this one. But yeah, we'll get this guy out then and into the glass. It says here that this one is best before the 23rd in 2017, the 23rd of September 2017, so it's well in date. And once again, a big thank you to Leo for providing me with this beer. Very excited to try this one and see what it's all about. So let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. So as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this one. You can really smell the sweet meaty smoke off this one as you open it up and into the glass. And I have to admit, I really enjoy trying these kind of traditional beer styles from all over the world. It's one of the really cool things about doing this channel for you on YouTube. And like I mentioned, my favourite style of beer is smoked beer, of course. My love of beer started off with the Schlenkerla beers when I went to visit my friend in Bamberg. But as you can see, this beer has poured a really nice dark mahogany colour. It's almost ebony actually. If I hold it up to the light, I'll just bring the light over here and let you see the colour of this one. It's actually got a bit of a kind of ruby chestnut tinge to it. It looks very nice. As you can see, there's a kind of third finger or a quarter finger of a frothy, almost beigey cream coloured head there. It looks very nice. There's a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there, which incidentally has just formed a very thin foamy layer. It's faded away quite a little bit. There's no visible sediment in this one whatsoever, but it looks very nice, and without paying too much attention to the aroma, you really can smell these nice sweet kind of cured meat flavours from this one, or aromas I should say. So let's have a little bit of a bigger look in depth with this one. So without sugaring it up, as you would expect, there's these really nice kind of almost cured bacon notes you're getting from this one. But it's got a nice roasted malt base, this, as you would expect. But it smells very much like a kind of cured pork or a cured bacon sort of thing you're getting from this beer. Very similar to the Rauch beers, of course. But it's really beautiful. If you sugar it up a bit more, you start to get a few more subtle notes out of this one. So you can smell the beechwood in there. It's got a kind of woody and nutty infused aroma. There's a little bit of the kind of sweet caramel in there too. These beers often have a nice little bit of roasted caramel in there. It is quite toasted. Maybe there's a little bit of chocolate too. When you sugar the beer up, you can actually smell the kind of toasted aromas in this. But there's a sweet, as I say, the sweet caramel note is in there. There's a bit of a woody, nutty infusion. It smells very, very nice. And there's almost a kind of German rye bread malt base to this beer. And you can smell the juniper notes really just mixed into this one, but they're very subtle. The most prominent component of the aroma really is that sweet kind of cured meaty character that comes out of this one. But there's a bit of earthy and grassiness to the beer too, but as you would expect when it's a smoked beer like this, it really is these cured meaty characters that are coming to the front with this one. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this beer. So this is the Savu Kataja from Vakka Suomen Panimo in Uusikaupunki in southwestern Finland. Skål! Now that one is quite interesting. What's interesting about this style of beer is that the mouthfeel seems to vary throughout the world. I remember the one from Handbrygeriet, the Norwegian wood one, that was very nice, but this one is also really good, but it has a very different feel about it. A lot of the same flavours are in this beer, but it's got a very different mouthfeel, this one. And as I always say, particularly when it comes to these kind of complex, quite dark beers, sugar it around your palate a little bit before you start dissecting the flavour. Yeah, this is a really nice beer. I just realised as well that I said skål with this beer. Of course, I'm living here in Lund in Sweden. I should have just said slange, my Scottish one. I don't actually know what the Finnish word for cheers is. I need to remember that for the next video. But yeah, this is another really, really nice smoke beer. As I said, if you like, in Scotland back home, if you like Will-o'-the-Wisp and you come across this beer, you'll enjoy it. The amazing Gotlander campfire beer from Amor is another example of this, but probably the most common one that you'll find is the Norwegian Wood from Hanbrig area. That's a very comparable beer to this one, and this one is very, very good again. This was rated at 96 overall in Rate Beer and 97 within the style, and it's very deserving of that rating in my opinion, and I hope you take that quite highly from me, because as you know if you've watched the channel, I absolutely love smoked beer. So let's actually dissect this flavour a little bit more. So as I was saying with the aroma of this, there's a nice, almost German rye bread character to this one. That just blankets the middle of the tongue. But on top of that, you get these really nice, almost quite sweet, cured meat notes from this. It's a very, it almost tastes a little bit like the kind of Bamberg Rauch malts. It has that very kind of typical flavour in this one, but it's a bit more peaty, I would say. There is a little bit of peaty character to this one, but it does lean more towards the kind of meaty, smoky character than the peatiness. The peatiness, of course, is a little bit more earthy, and this one has a good combination of the two in my opinion, but it does lean more towards the sweeter, more meaty, smoky characters, I would say. And those nice sweet meaty flavours, they just build on top of that kind of German rye bread malt base. As I said, that is actually very, very light. It's a very sweet beer, this one, in terms of the malt. There is some caramel in there, it's quite toasted, and you can taste the woody and nutty flavours just infused in this one. It's very, very well done, and it's got a good balance of different flavours in this one. You can taste the juniper berries mixed in with this one quite well. The juniper flavour, as I mentioned from the aroma, it's actually quite subtle in the flavour. You can taste it's there, but it really infuses itself with the nice bready malt base in this beer, I would say. But yeah, this one is really quite nicely done. It's actually quite light in body as well. For a 9% beer, it is very, very light, and it doesn't have much alcohol warmth either, so it's quite kind of dangerously drinkable. So just beware of that one when you're drinking this beer. With the hoppy character of the beer, I would say in the back corners of the palate you get a little bit of earthiness, but it's very, very smooth, just a little bit of dry character. But as you come further forward, there is a really quite smooth but quite tasty grassy hop character there. It is very, very smooth. The hops in this beer, of course, are again very, very subtle, but the earthy character in the beer builds a good bridge between that quite sweet, meaty malt base. And it just builds a good bridge towards the edge of the tongue where you've got these nice, smooth, hoppy characters. I would be really interested to know if they've used German noble hops in this beer. I would really love to know that, pardon me, about these kind of traditional Finnish, Estonian, Gotland style beers. They're very nicely done. But yeah, this is a beautiful beer, this one. As I say, if you'd enjoyed the beers I listed earlier, you will certainly enjoy this one, but it's very light, like I was saying. But as you move into the aftertaste, what lingers in this beer, there's a little bit of the earthy character, some of the grassiness from the hops too, but the bready malt base in there with the nice juniper flavours, and in the middle of the tongue you get this nice woody, caramelly and quite meaty flavour there. There's a bit of wetness in the middle of the tongue where all those flavours are lingering, but overall this is a really, really nice beer, and I hope you take that I hope you take that from me as a good sign, because as I mentioned, I really, really love Rauch beers, and I am very impressed with this one. But in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I would say this is a mid-bodied beer. The carbonation in it is very smooth. It's quite an oily one as well, but at the same time, that doesn't make it all that heavy on the body. As I mentioned to you, there's not very much alcohol warmth from this beer at all. It is 9%, so normally you would expect that a little bit, and the caramel in this isn't really that prominent. Usually it's the kind of caramel flavours that mask the boozy character of the beer, but in this one, probably because of how prominent this cured meaty flavour that you get in the beer is, that covers up a lot of the caramel, or maybe it just kind of blends together in the flavour. It's probably more fair to say that actually. As I mentioned, in the middle of the tongue you get this nice, wet, cured meat, caramelly flavour with some woody and nutty character too, and that's where a lot of the boozy character is probably lying, but the sweetness of that really covers any alcohol warmth that you get out of this beer. So overall, it's very malt forward. There is a little touch of dryness from the hop characters at the very back corner of the palate, and perhaps just a little bit at the front corners too, but overall the hoppy character is very, very smooth, and this beer is definitely more malty and very sweet, to be honest. So overall, this is a really, really excellent beer, and as I mentioned, it's really cool to try these quite traditional Finnish styles of beer, and especially Finnish beer because of how hard it is to find and also how expensive it is as well. And to be honest, the price of it is justified because of how good it is. There's some very, very good breweries in Finland these days. Obviously these guys, Vakka Suomen, are very, very good. There's Malmgård as well, who I've heard are good, and there's also the Plevna brewery as well. There's a lot of good Finnish craft beer, and hopefully we'll start to see that becoming more and more available. But this is another very, very good beer from Finland. So this one was the Savu Kataja from Vakka Suomen Panimo. I would recommend this beer to people who like for example, the Norwegian wood from Handbryggeriet in Norway, the amazing Gotland campfire beer from Amor as well, or back in Scotland you would probably like this if you like the Will-o'-the-Wisp from Black Metal Brew. But pretty much, if you enjoy smoked beers, you will enjoy this one. And it's a style that's very traditional to Finland, Estonia, and to Gotland as well. So if you want something a little bit quirky, then do check it out. So this has been another very, very awesome beer review. But as always, please let me know in the comments section below your own thoughts on this beer. It would be very interesting to hear from you guys, especially in Finland. I thank you once again for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out the social media things. To those of you in Finland, please get in touch and let me know about some other beers and breweries. But until the next beer review, it's Slanger just now. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and hopefully I can return to Finland in the very near future. So go and check out Vakka Suomen Panimo from Uusikaupunki in Finland, and this is the Prykmestar Savu Kataja, a nice smoked juniper beer. Go and check it out. It's been pretty awesome to review, and I'll catch you soon with more Finnish beer reviews in the very near future. Cheers just now.